What's going on, everybody? Thank you for clicking on the link. I am finally here and ready to do my brief commentary / review on Queen Sugar. Yes, it is back and I'm so glad about it. It has been the only source of, I guess I'll say, it's been the only thing that has been able to pacify me since Underground has been gone, television wise. Yeah. So let's get started. Like I said, I'm glad it's back. I couldn't wait. I've been anticipating it since last November, when I think was the last episode from season 1. But anyway, let's just jump right on into it. I'm not gonna go scene for scene or line by line, precept by precept, but I just want to give a general overview of what I think about this season, these first 2 episodes. They did the 2-night premiere last Tuesday and Wednesday. What I noticed in these 2 episodes, of course, it's just beginning the season, but I noticed that the overall feel of this season, the overall, I guess you could say feel, is different from season 1. The actors seem a little bit more acclimated to the Louisiana culture, to the the way they talk and the way they dress, and yeah, it's a little bit more down to earth this season. However, I'm hoping that they don't deviate from the original plans of the script, because as we know, in season 1 they brought up the history of the Bordelon plantation and how the white people in Louisiana, because it was a very racial situation going on, how they were trying to take the land, how they always tried to take the land, how they even murdered one of the Bordelon's ancestors to get land, or whatever they did in season 1. I don't remember the details, but there had been some violence in their family at the hands of the white people. And I hope that they don't deviate from that storyline. I hope they don't break with the truth telling part of it, because I know in the event or with what has gone on with Underground, how I know a lot of people are timid about those type of storylines and the truth being told in episodes. I just hope that they don't change too much throughout this season. I have not seen any implication or any type of proof that they're going to delve into that, but they need to, because that is the history of the land. Yeah, I just hope that they don't try to spare people's feelings where it comes down to, or in order to, or sacrifice the fullness of the storyline to Queen Sugar. Does that make sense? Am I expressing myself right? I just really hope that they stick to the original storyline and enhance on it and build on it, while they have incorporated a lot of current day events and things into this script, which I think is wonderful. I just don't want them to leave out what's going on behind the scenes, the powers that be, and who is trying to fight them in their attempts, the Bordelon's attempts to be successful with their sugarcane plantation. But anyway, let me get right into it. Okay, so episode 1 starts off with Nova. She's outside taking some clothes off the line, or some cloth off the line, and this guy comes out, who she is obvious that she has had a roll in the hay with him the night before. And he comes out and he expresses to her what a good time he had, and that he looks forward to seeing her again in the future. But Nova makes it very clear in her mannerism and the way she responded with him. She told him it was great, but you have a good day. That means don't come back. I have no intentions of seeing you again. This was a one-time thing, a one-night stand. She made it clear. I don't know what she did to that man, but she was letting him know, you can't get no more of this, okay? So I said, what's going on with Nova? Because if I remember correctly, didn't her and Calvin, the white guy from season 1, the married white guy, didn't her and them get back together? Didn't he leave his wife for her? Don't tell me they pulling another Lee Daniels type of pulling a Lee Daniels type move on this script too. I mean, starting something and bringing something up and never revisiting it, because he left his wife for her. So what's going on with that? And he got into that bar fight with that man about her last season, like within the last 2 episodes. So I don't know what's going on there, but yeah. So anyway, so it goes from there. You see that Nova is doing Nova, of course. And we're going to find out as the season progresses or as the episodes progress that she does this a lot. She's developed a habit of having one-night stands. Don't know what's going on with her. Don't know if she's trying to get over Calvin. I don't know what the problem is, but she's being mighty free with her JJ. Okay? So anyway, then it shows Charlie. Charlie is having a business meeting with some bankers, and she's trying to get a loan to continue doing what she does on the borderline plantation. And they are all in. She's doing a great job of selling herself and selling her plan to them. She's got Remy Newell in the meeting with her. He's actually co-signing on everything that she's saying. They're letting her know, they're letting the people know that they have all these farmers that are on board and that she's got another stream of income from the sugar plantation. And they're all in, but there's one condition. The only way that they're going to give her all of the funds that she's asked for, because they make it clear that they'll give her some, but they can't give her all of the money unless they have Davis's name on the papers. Unless he's a co-signer on the loan, they're not going to do it, because they let her know that they're interested in his brand. That's the whole reason why they're doing this. They cannot give her all of the money she wants unless he's in on it. So of course that throws her for a loop for a minute, and I'm sure it was a blow to Charlie's ego, because you know she thinks she got it going on. Is it just me, or does she get on your nerve? She kind of aggravates me, and she has always aggravated me since season 1. Because she kind of stupid. I'm just going to say that she do some stupid stuff. She's always reacting out of her emotions. She don't stop and think about what she's doing or what she's saying. She don't know how to talk to nobody. But anyway, so that's a blow to her ego. But she doesn't really show them. She tells them she'll get it done. She'll get it taken care of. And she will get, basically letting them know that Davis will be on board. Okay, so they shake hands with her. They're excited about it. And they leave. And she tells Remy that she wants to celebrate. This is a celebration for her, because they basically signed on to do what she wanted to do, because she's just sure that she's going to get Davis to go along with it. Well, Remy reminds her, he said, why you want to celebrate? He's like, you just got blindsided by those men, you know? And so she was like, I guess I got to get used to people. I got to get used to people associating basically me with Davis. People knowing that we're together. I got to get used to it. But of course, Remy is not, you know, too fond of that. He's like, we can't even go out and have a drink safely because you still married to the man. Everybody in town knows that. And so she's like, not for long or whatever. So Remy basically tells her, for right now, let's just keep everything business. Let's just put the courtship or the attempt to date, let's just put that on the back burner for right now and just keep it business. And she agrees and whatever. What else has gone on in there? So that's what, from a business perspective, that's what's going on there. Davis he's just somewhere in the background. You don't see him just yet. You see their son Micah. Davis has given Micah a brand new sports car for his birthday. It's obviously his birthday. And this child is 16 years old, and immediately I saw red flags. Y'all keep looking over there because my TV's on. Queen Sugar is actually on, and from time to time I have to look over there at it. But anyway, he has given him this expensive sports car. I don't even know what the name of it is, but this boy's 16 years old, and immediately I saw red flags. Oh my God, he gonna give a 16-year-old a brand new sports car. Trouble. Nice gesture and all, but you know, I don't know if that's wise, because a lot of things can happen with a young black child. I said that from the beginning. Oh no. So anyway, but before I get into Micah, Ralph Angel is still trying to be a man. He's doing better and better. Him and Darla are getting closer and closer. And so they're like one little happy family, him and Darla and little Blue. And he takes Blue out on the tractor one day to show him the land and show him the piece of land that basically Ralph Angel has dedicated to him, called Blue's Corner. And the little baby's excited about it. He's like, yeah, you know. So all three of them are out there, him and Darla and little Blue, looking at the land. And it's a real sweet moment and everything for them. And Darla asked him, well, you know, what does your rest of your family think? And he said, you know, let's not worry about that. Let's just enjoy the moment. All right, so they hugged closely and everything. Like I said, it was a very sweet moment for them. Back to Micah. It's Micah's birthday. He's driving. Well, he's letting the little girl drive his car. First of all, that's a problem. See, when I grew up, when you got a car, or back when I was driving, when I got a car at 18 years old, even though it was a used car, my mom, one of the main things my parents told me was, don't be letting nobody drive your car. Why? Because their name ain't on your insurance, and you don't need to be letting people drive your car. That was one of the things they always told you. And like I said, when I saw that, I started having flashbacks. I was like, oh my God, he's letting this young girl drive his car. Anyway, y'all, I try not to bring my personal antics into stuff when I'm watching it, but I can't help it, Anyway, so I started getting nervous. Well, anyway, him and Charlie and her have met for lunch for his birthday, and they're having a really good time, and he tells them, thank you, this is the best gift for all of us to be out here eating lunch together. And his little girlfriend, I can't think of her name, reminds him, no, this is the best. She's like, oh, you got this nice car and everything. But Micah feels like, it's a nice car and everything, but my daddy only gave it to me because he's trying to buy my love. He's trying to buy me. So that's what he feels like. His dad is just, for whatever reason, that's a bad thing to him that his dad gave him a car, because he's trying to buy his approval or whatever. But then, and he's kind of sad about that for some reason. And then Charlie tells him, don't let your daddy, what he's got going on, ruin your birthday. Okay, so they move on from that scene or whatever. After that, y'all, let me see, because I don't want to tell you wrong. Vi is at home baking some pies. She always cooking. And so Vi is trying to call Hollywood. She hadn't talked to him in a while since she broke up with him. Since she found out that he was married. He told her last season, finally, when the wife showed up at the party that they were having, or the reunion they were having, and he let her know that yes, I'm still married to this woman. The only reason we're still married on paper is because she needs some health insurance, because we all know she's in the mental institution. Old Maxine is in the mental institution, and so he wants to make sure that she has some health insurance. And of course, Vi is mad, mainly, I'm sure, because he did not tell her. And he should have told her. I like old Hollywood. He's good for Vi, but he should have told her. He should have told her. She had a right to be mad with him. But when she got mad with him, she broke up with him. And he wound up catching her with another man. And so he was so hurt about it. I think they were in a club when he caught her, but he was so hurt about it, he ran from the situation, and he decided to go back out on the rigs, which he probably wasn't going to do. But he decided he got to get away. He needed to get over her, so he goes out on a rig. We can all relate to that when we're trying to get over somebody and we're trying to get them out of our system. We completely kind of block ourselves off from any interaction with the person because we need to get over them. And so that's what Hollywood did. And so ever since then, she's been missing her man. He's a lot younger than her, so you know what that means. But she's been missing her man, and she's been trying to contact him, but he doesn't answer the phone. He just lets it go to voicemail or whatever. So he finally calls Ralph Angel. Instead of calling Vi, he calls Ralph Angel one day. Ralph Angel was out talking to Prosper about what his plans are for the soy field and everything. And Hollywood calls and asks him, what's up with Vi? She's been calling me, leaving me messages. Is everything all right? And so Ralph Angel tells him, he said, man, I ain't in that. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I done told you I don't want no parts of what you and Aunt Vi got going on. He said, if you want to know how Aunt Vi is doing, you need to ask her yourself. So Hollywood understands this, and they get off the phone and everything. So he finally, at some point, well, later on, we're going to find out. Y'all, there's so much going on in here. Nova called Vi when she was at home baking those pies that day, and she called Hollywood. Nova called her right after she tried to call Hollywood, and Nova was like, hey, you want to go out and celebrate Michael's birthday, celebrate with Charlie. We're going to take Charlie out for Michael's birthday. Remember, now it's Michael's birthday, but she's going to take Charlie out in celebration of Michael's birthday. Without Michael, of course. And Vi was like, you just want to go out man hopping, which she does. Apparently, like I said from the beginning, Nova done turned into quite the whore. All right? I hate to say it like that, but she is really being free with her punani, y'all. Real free. I'm like, ooh, Nova, that's nasty. She going from one man to the next, okay? But then that's neither here nor there. Whatever, Nova, do you, baby. But so Vi does finally agree. She said, yeah, we can go out and everything. So they do wind up going out. And while they are out, I'm still on episode 1 now. So while they're out that night having a good time, you got all this rap music going on in the background. You know, some stuff sound like probably Migos or somebody. You know, some new age rap music going on. And they getting down. Aunt Vi just as drunk as she want to be. She out there talking about Hollywood, or saying something about Hollywood because she was trying to get in touch with him. She was telling Nova, you know, I'm trying to get in touch with him, but he ain't responding. And was it Charlie she was talking to? But anyway, they were reassuring her that she is a great woman and everything. But like I said, she pissing drunk, so she talking crazy. You know how that goes. So as they get up and they start dancing and everything, Charlie having a good time. She sees Nova over there, a black guy, for the first time we ever seen him with a black man. He is trying to dance up on her, and she's letting him. So Charlie's laughing and grinning, and she turns around and she sees the back of Davis's head in the club. And she stares at him, and she looks a little closer, and she sees that he's with a female. So she goes over to confront him. Like, what is this? You know, people know we married, basically. You're not concerned about the press and what everybody's going to say, because she's trying to keep up appearances. Even though they're going through a divorce, she wants people to think that they're still together, at least until after her business goes through with these bankers. So he's like, look around, you know, do you see anybody in here with cell phones taking pictures? Because apparently he's got some kind of arrangement going on with the owner. And she looks around and everything, but while she's sitting there looking at him, like I said, she done insulted his little girlfriend who looks like she's half his age, and she's sitting there looking crazy. She never got up and left. She just sat there and looked. And so at some point, here come Aunt Vi and Nova. Oh my God, Aunt Vi done attacked him and attacked the woman. She done told the girl, what you doing out here with this thing, this husky? I mean, just drunk. Eventually, Aunt Vi winds up getting put out. Well, all of them get put out because they all together. But what's his face also told Charlie, I forgot. Charlie said, you out here instead of being with your son. He was like, he don't want to be with me. I tried to be with him, but he wanted to be with his girlfriend. So once again, Charlie is acting belligerent, and she's not being rational with the man. I know she's mad about what he has done, but when it comes down to Micah, she's very irrational. And when it comes down to how she handles business with Davis, she's real immature. She's real immature. And so she can't expect the man, even though if she's divorcing him, she can't really expect this man not to be with somebody else. She already knows he's got an affinity for women. So what does she expect from Davis, you know? So anyway, after they all attack him, the security guy winds up putting them all out. So when they get put out, they go back to the house. They're watching television. One night, Aunt Vi sleep on the sofa. And so Charlie's having to talk with Nova. Nova's like, you want to talk about it? And so Charlie starts talking about remembering the good times with her and Davis, how they met, how much they loved each other, how when he came home from his games and when he was overseas or whatever, he would come home and tell her everything like a book report. And she would listen to him, and she was just saying how good everything was between them. And now, here it is 18 years later, they are divorcing, and she's basically trying to figure out how they got to this place that they are in their relationship. And Nova was like, I don't know. And so Charlie's just questioning relationships. Is it possible to be with somebody that you love? And she's even brought up Aunt Vi's relationship with Hollywood. She's like, I thought they'd be together forever. And Nova's like, yeah, I did too, but you know, even they didn't work, you know. So she's just really having a moment about that. So that's that. So the next thing you see is Nova. The next thing you see is Nova actually goes to a baby shower of a friend of hers. In the beginning of the episode, when she was taking those dyed cloths off the clothesline, that was actually going to be her gift to this young lady. I think the lady is pregnant with twins, and they're older people. They're probably about 40, 41, whatever. But Nova goes to the baby shower, gives her the gifts, and the lady expresses that she never thought she would be pregnant out of wedlock. She's not married, and she says she's finally giving her mama some grandbabies, but even though her mom says she's doing it out of order, she says she's not scared about it or whatever. She wanted to do it right, but it didn't happen that way. And of course, the other ladies were like, I never thought I'd be single at this age. And, I always wanted to have my children while I was married, and that's when Nova, the unconventional one, the unorthodox one, the one who's being real free with her vagina jumps in and says, who says you have to do it in order? No disrespect to your mom, but we are women and we are just as smart and strong as men, based on paraphrasing. We can do anything we want to do. We can have babies. We can take care of kids. We can do what they can do and so forth. She's trying to change their thought patterns about marriage and family and children. So anyway, y'all excuse me. I don't know if y'all can hear my phone ringing, but anyway, now, so that's how that conversation goes. You can tell that Nova is totally in a whole different place from where these other women are. These women are traditional and they believe in, doing things the traditional way. Marriage first, then babies. Nova ain't feeling that. So anyway, we're basically getting to see more and more what type of person Nova is and how she thinks and how she lives her life in this particular episode, okay? Let's see what else stood out to me in this episode. Nova and Charlie. No, let's talk about Darla. Like I said, Darla is with she's still dating Ralph Angel, and she's practically living there at his house with him. The family is getting ready to have their family dinner. Vi, Charlie, Nova, and all of them. And they're waiting on everybody to get home. And y'all don't want to leave out what happened with Micah. I got to go back to Micah. But they're there, and they're wanting Aunt Vi asked Ralph Angel, where's Darla? And Darla has gone to, she was working that day, and he told him she working late, or she's going to this meeting. I think he knew she was going to her AA meeting. So he tells them that. And while she's at her AA meeting, they show Darla, and she starts talking about when she was a little girl, she had a shirt with a little ballerina on the front, and how she spilled juice on it, and that her mom cleaned it and washed it. No matter how many times her mom scrubbed it and scrubbed it and scrubbed it, she could never get all of the juice out of the shirt. And she said she's now, which to me symbolized that no matter how much she tries, no matter how hard she works, she's still going to have these addiction issues. That's what I got out of that. And no matter how hard she works on it, this is going to probably always be a problem. Well, anyway, she tells them that she is just 2 months shy of her 2-year sobriety. I'm like, she's been sober for 2 years? I'm like, okay. And right now the family's having a dinner, but she doesn't want to go to the family dinner. She lets them know that she's basically saying that everything's going so good, and she's dating her son's father again, and it's been wonderful and everything, but she's just so afraid that she's going to fail. Things are going too good to her. That feeling that people get when some people have when everything's going, because they're not used to things going good. But when things start really going good and things are stable for them, they kind of self-sabotage the situation because they're not accustomed to it. And she's afraid that she's going to mess up. And she doesn't want to go to the family dinner because she knows that they know her history. And she's probably afraid of being, even though they've been treating her real well, even Aunt Vi has accepted her. I think she's just afraid of being judged, and she's afraid that she's going to crack under some type of pressure, And so anyway, she just tells them all about what she's going through. So you learn a little bit about where she stands with her sobriety. So she does eventually make it to the house. They having a dinner and everything. And while they're saying their grace, let me go back. Micah, because this is very important. One day while he was out driving his car, he had his music up real loud and everything. He's having a good time on the road, enjoying his car. He's got his seatbelt on and everything like he should. And this sheriff gets behind him. A police officer gets behind him. This old white man gets behind him, sees him in that car, pulls him over. He had done nothing wrong. You find that out in the exchange that he had done nothing wrong. He wasn't speeding or anything. The man just sees a young black guy in an expensive, sharp car. He sees the car, and while he's walking up to the car, they show you him rubbing his hand over the surface of the car. So he's really into this car. And so he questions the boy. He starts asking the child. He's like, is this your car? He's like, yes, a birthday gift from my dad. He's like, let me see your license. But he had forgotten his license. He said, oop, I didn't have my license. I left it at home. And then he says, let me see your registration. So when he went to reach for his registration, The man tells him to put his hands up. He just starts acting like the boy is going to shoot him. And I just had a flashback of Philando Castile and all this stuff that's been going on with black people. I'm like, see, this is really creative of the writers to put this into, because this is what we have been dealing with lately. And it just brought back some things. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it was bringing back things that we've experienced. And he did this to this child. And he pulled, the police officer pulls his gun on this obviously non-threatening child. You could look at that child and see he was scared and that he wasn't going to do anything. The man hollered at him and made him get out of the car for no reason. Arrested him, took him down to the precinct, locked him up, had him locked up. This boy had never been in a situation like this. It was obvious that he was not accustomed to dealing with anything like this. That was obvious. So I felt some kind of way when I watched it. And I was like, now why is he doing that, child? I say, see there, Davis done bought this boy this car and ain't doing nothing but bringing him trouble. So this child winds up going to jail. But of course, Charlie and them don't know it. They back at the house. They getting ready to have dinner. They don't know where he is. He should have been home hours ago. She gets a phone call while they're saying grace. She doesn't answer it at first, but when they stop saying grace, the phone rings again. And it is Davis. She answers it. She steps away from the table. She answers it. It's Davis. Davis tells her he's questioning. He's like, where's Micah? I don't know where he at. I can't find him. She says, maybe he's with his girlfriend. Let me call her and see what's up. She basically hangs the phone up in Davis's face. And I guess she calls the girl. The girl say, I hadn't seen him. He dropped me off hours ago. She's getting nervous now. She comes to the table. She tells everybody, y'all, Micah is missing. We don't know where he is. He should have been here hours ago. So her and Nova actually go out to look for him, to see where he is. But before they got to, she actually goes out to look for him. And they find his car on the interstate, or off to the side of the road. It's just left there. While they're looking for him, she's nervous and scared and screaming his name and everything. Nova gets a phone call. I don't know who that was calling Nova, but somebody calls Nova. Maybe it's her insiders from the police department or something, because we all know she got a connection because she does this bond community outreach thing. She gets a call and they tell her that he is at the precinct, and so that he's been arrested. So they go down to the precinct to try, to see what's going on, of course. But let me back up a minute. While they're at the dinner, let me go back. Ralph Angel at the dinner, or right after the dinner, or right before the dinner, or whatever, they have a conversation. Ralph Angel tells Vi and Nova and Charlie what his plans are for the small part of the land that they're not farming sugarcane on. He wants to do some soybeans, and he wants to fix the old tractor that his daddy had. And of course, Charlie comes in and shoots him down. Aunt Vi and Nova are all in favor of it. They tell him, you so smart, you've been thinking, because he's got good ideas, and they trying to let him be a man. But of course, Charlie, being the control freak that she is, shoots him down and tells him it ain't smart to fix no old tractor. You might as well get a brand new one, because of depreciation. We can write off the depreciation of the new one, and it would just save us more money if we did it that way. And she says, I know that tractor has sentimental value to you because it belonged to Dad, but it doesn't make sense. It's like walking over $1 just to save a dime, or just to get a dime. And so once again, she just hurts his feeling because she shoots him down. It's not that her suggestion was unwanted, but Charlie once again needs to learn how to talk to people. And Biden got on her and told her she needs to start affirming him more, telling him, good job, that's a good idea, stop shooting him down so much, stop talking to him kind of way. And so she basically she says, I wasn't shooting him down, I was just telling him. Y'all, I'm sorry, but Charlie gets on my nerves. She gets on my nerves. She's a little bit crooked herself. She showed that in the last season. She just aggravates me. She don't know how to talk to people. And she's too much of a control freak. And she shows that over and over again throughout this episode. And throughout episode 2 as well. So anyway, Darcy finally arrives late from the AA meeting. Like I said, she had come in and she brought a dish with her, but she and Ralph Angel go outside and they have a talk. This is right before they actually eat. They go out and they have a talk, and he questions why she needs to keep going to these meetings and with these sponsors and stuff, with these ex-drug addicts and everything. He was telling her, you got everything you need right here with the family, but she was letting him know, and I'm so glad Darla spoke up for herself. Last season, I was skeptical about Darla, but these 2 episodes right here have given me new hope for Darla, and hopefully what I'm seeing is the right thing. But she explains to him, it may not seem like it makes sense to you, basically, but this is what I need. She's telling him this is what she needs to remain sober. She's trying to make sure that she doesn't fall off the wagon. This is what she's doing, what she needs to do for herself. And she also tells him that when he asks her if she's gonna stay over, she lets him know, no, I can't keep playing house with you. I need to go back to my house and stay in my home. Basically, she needs her independence. She needs to learn how to be single and strong and independent, stand on her own 2 feet before she can get too, because she's telling they're moving too fast for her. And he's like, how are we moving too fast? It took us a long time to get to this point. And he asked her if she's breaking up with him. She says, no, I don't think I'm breaking up with you. She says, I'm just trying to be stronger on my own, basically. She's doing quite well on her own. She's working and she's continuing. She's been 2 years. So she's just letting him know that she's got to find herself, and she's got to do what she's got to do for Darla before she can be Ralph and Darla. So anyway, and I commended her for that. She's serious about her sobriety, and she was letting him know that she's not going to let him or anybody else stop her from that. So anyway, that's what's going on there. So Charlie and Nova, like I said, back at the police precinct, they go in there. Charlie's ranting and raving like she always do. She never thinks before she speaks. She's going off on the little man sitting at the desk, and he looking at her crazy. She's talking about, I need you to go in there and find my son. You know who my son is, Micah, so-and-so. And this man's like, he's not, what? He looking at her crazy. So Nova has to step in and speak up for her, because, you know, she got experience with these people. So she talks to the man in a calmer voice. She says, this is my sister. Her son has been arrested. We don't know where he is. Could you please look in your system and find Micah West for us? And so the man, because of Nova, looks in the system to find his name, but the boy has not been booked yet. He has not been registered in the system, so he cannot find him yet. So while they're standing there talking to him, Davis comes up. Davis comes in, and Davis, because they recognize him as a pro basketball player, y'all know how men get when they see pro athletes, all of a sudden they put it in Davis's hand. He was like, Mr. West, all the men, you know, around like, yo, it's Davis West. And so he says, can y'all find him? He's like, I tried, I looked in the system, he's not in there. He said, well, can you check your holding cells for me? So the man says, sure, Mr. West, anything you want. I mean, they completely changed for Davis. Charlie and Nova standing off to the side. Charlie obviously has an attitude. She's mad about that, the influence that Davis has, but she's forgetting that this ain't about her. It's about her son being in a jail cell that he's not accustomed to being in for something that he did not do. So anyway, the man goes and get him, but before he goes off to get him, he asks Davis to take a selfie with him. So Davis reluctantly agrees to take a selfie, and Charlie is blown away. I'm blown away. I'm like, is she really gonna take this selfie for real? Because how you gonna explain this? Because you already know the man probably gonna post it on Facebook somewhere, and they're gonna be wondering why Davis West is at the police department. What's his explanation gonna be? So anyway, whatever, neither here nor there. He had to do what he had to do to get his son out of jail. So they get the baby out, the child's walking out, and then the camera goes down low in his groin area, and you see that this boy has peed on himself, all right, from fear. He is TT'd on himself. Nova notices it. It's nighttime. She notices it. She walks up to him, just stands in front of him and hides it, and she hugs him, and she tells him it's nothing to be ashamed of, but at the same time, she's taking her pink sweater and tying it around his waist. So she's being very compassionate with him at this point. Charlie doesn't know how to be compassionate with anybody. She's just, you know, she was glad to see her son, but she doesn't know how to talk to him. Meanwhile, while Nova is trying to comfort him, her and Davis is back there arguing. She mad with Davis because she says he did a step and fetch it dance just to get the son out. And that man tell him, what? You just mad because you don't have any control over the situation. You're just mad because you don't have all of the answers. He said he is out of jail because of me. I mean, she's real belligerent with Davis. And Davis is right. The only reason he's out of jail is because of me. Okay? And he said, it might be a step and fetch it. It might be a dance that I was doing in there, but it was my dance. Basically, he did what he had to do, and he is not ashamed of it. She's so stupid, she shuts up. So eventually, she moves off to the side. Micah comes over to his daddy, and he is finally, in that moment, you can see that he has forgiven his daddy. And he comes up, and his daddy tells him everything's going to be all right. We're going to get through this. It don't matter what happened in there, what went down, but we're going to get through this, son. And his son says, okay, you can tell finally he has opened up to his daddy. And like I said, I believe Charlie has a problem with the fact that he's opening up to his daddy. She don't like the fact that he is accepting Davis. She crazy. She crazy. So anyway, that is basically what went on in episode 1. Everybody, I did leave out something. Aunt Vi, while everybody's nervous and looking for Micah, she decides to try to call Hollywood again. Miraculously, this time, he answered the telephone. And they talked. She told him she missed him. He said he missed her. She starts talking about, when she broke up with him and why she broke up with him, that she needed some space. And he said, well, I needed some space too. And so she's so happy to be talking to him. She actually lays down on the bed while she's talking to him. You know how we really in love, and it's really deep when we lay across that bed when we talking to somebody we in love with. Well, that's what happened. She was just so happy to hear his voice. He reaffirms her about the fact that Micah's okay. He believes he's all right. He's probably just out with his friends or whatever. He just says the right things to her, what she wants to hear. And I was sitting there thinking, Hollywood need to hurry up and come on back home, because we need some stability around now. Okay? Because even though he was not in the family, he still provided a voice of reason and some stability for Vi, because as long as she was all right, she was able to better relate to her family, and she's able to hold as the matriarch of the family. When she was at peace and when she was happy, she was better able to support everybody else in the family. Okay, so yeah, it's a good thing. She talked to him, and everything seems to be okay for now with her and Hollywood. Okay, so that's the gist of what happened. We're at the end of the episode, and they show Nova again laid up in the bed with another white man she done slept with. I don't know what kind of voice she's trying to feel, like I said, but she's laying up there looking like a dead body to me, y'all. I know I ain't the only one that thought that. I said, who is that with that decrepit looking hand on them? Nova laying up there looking like a dead body. Anyway, the man reaches over to try to touch her, but she tells him, you should go. So he gets up, he leaves and everything, and she's laying there looking like she disgusted with herself. And then they show Micah. Micah's at home, and he is laying in the bed awake. He hadn't been sleeping much, obviously. And Charlie comes in and tries to talk to him. She's like, you want to talk about what happened? He tells her no, he don't want to talk about it. And so she leaves him alone and everything. You see little Blue getting up in the morning. He's going into Ralph Angel's room. Ralph Angel is in the bed by himself for the first time in a long time. And the little baby's like, when is mommy coming over? He said, she'll be over here later. So, he had become used to her staying at the house with him and Ralph Angel. But everything is well with them. They're happy and whatnot. And then they show Charlie sitting outside with the paperwork that she's gotten from those loan officers at the bank. And she's sitting there with her crooked self. I already told y'all she was deceitful anyway. Do you know she forged Davis's name on that paperwork? Instead of asking him and getting him to sign, she done put that man's name on this paperwork. So once again, she has done something that's going to probably wind up backfiring and slapping her in the face later on. I keep telling y'all, I can't stand Charlie. Charlie's going to win at all costs. It don't matter what she got to do. She going to make sure that she wins. Okay? And then the episode pretty much goes off and they start showing previews to the next episode. Okay, episode 2. This video is already 38 minutes long, so I need to be quick here. In episode 2, it starts off with Ralph Angel is actually going to officially take Darla on a date. He goes on her job one day and he takes her some beignets, which is very popular dessert in New Orleans or in Louisiana. He takes her that and a ice or some kind of coffee he brings her, some kind of mocha coffee, and he asks her out on an official date that they have not been out on in years. And so she finally, it takes her a while to say yes. You can tell she's a little reluctant, but she does agree. And he leaves or whatever, because like I said, she's working. So that has gone on. So him and her do wind up going on a date later on in the episode. They have a good time. They brought Blue with them. He thought he was gonna be able to leave Blue. Well, he did leave Blue with Aunt Vi, but they took little Blue on a date with them that night. And they had a good time at the restaurant. And the little boy got that doll. Lord, I was hoping he didn't put that doll away. That's just me. I'm sorry I ain't there yet. I ain't used to that. This child playing with this doll from season 1. So they're sitting there having a good time. The little boy playing and keeping up noise. And his mom tells him to quiet down a little bit while they're eating. And then he gets up and he reaches. You know how kids play over the back of their seat when the other people sitting on the other side. He got up and he did that. And Darla got on him and told him to sit down and eat your food. And so I thought that Ralph Angel was going to get on her for getting on Blue, but he didn't. He told him, he was just playing. And she told him, she said, I don't want him acting like that in public. But you know how people do. People get mad. It's like you ain't been here raising him, so you can't be getting on my child. But that's still Darla's son. And if she's with him, she's got the right to discipline him as well, as far as I'm concerned. Because what if they get married? I mean, what if? So anyway, she told him she don't want him acting like that in public. And so, of course, Ralph Angel begins to try to, coddle the little boy. He tells him it's all right or whatever. The child turns around, starts eating his food. And so everything, the night goes continuously well. The waiter comes back. The waiter asks them, do they want anything else? And he sees little Blue playing with that doll. And he asks, he said, they got a Transformer doll that you really love. And so Ralph Angel gets mad. He don't like the fact that this man says alluded to this doll that he had. And the dude was not rude. He was just giving him an alternative. But some people get mad. Ralph Angel's taking up for the fact that this little boy playing with this doll. Darla doesn't think anything of it. But he's looking strange at the man. The man said, can I get you anything else? The man looking scared at this point. So Ralph Angel said, yeah, bring me 2 ice creams, 2 sundaes, 1 for him. He actually asked for 4 ice creams. So basically 1 for Darla, 1 for me, 1 for Blue, and bring 1 for the doll too. So the man looking crazy, but the man goes and get the ice cream sundaes and everything. So at the end of the date, Ralph Angel is piddling around with the money, counting up the money. And at first it looked like to me that he didn't have enough money to pay the bill. And Darla was like, you got enough? She notices it. She's like, you got enough money or whatever? He's like, yeah, I got it. And so he pulls the money out. He puts it in the little thing holder that they give you. And she picks it up and she counts it. And she notices that he didn't leave a tip. And he says, I'm not going to tip him. He probably didn't have enough money. He said he brought enough just for the date that they were going to have. And so she says, you got to leave the man a tip. You can't not tip the man. Because the man did do his job. But Ralph Angel was mad. He was like, I ain't tip him after what he said to Blue. Which I think was just an excuse not to put any more money in there. But he was like, I get that he didn't appreciate the man interjecting where he wasn't asked. But the man still did his job. And even though tipping is a choice, you don't have to tip. But if he did a good job providing you service, why wouldn't you tip the man? And that's basically what Darla let him know. He said, you can't not treat him like that. We can't act like him. So she pulled some money out of her wallet. He tried to stop her, but she overpowers him and she does leave a tip. I said, you go, Darla. I like the fact that she stood up in that moment too. So I'm liking Darla more and more. So that's basically the end of their date. What else happened that jumped out of this episode? Micah is still not driving that car. I guess he refuses to drive, or maybe Charlie won't let him drive. He's in summer school, so she's taking him to school or whatnot. And she goes to a divorce meeting, a mediation meeting with Davis. And while they're there, before they ever get started, Davis interrupts and tells her that he wants to talk to Charlie in private. Of course, the mediator tries to discourage him, tell him this is an open meeting, everything is out in the open, and we don't need to have no secret meeting. He said he just want to talk to Charlie. So finally, Charlie agrees. After she tried to buck a little bit, she finally agrees to meet. talk to him in private. And everybody leaves except them two. And he starts questioning her. He's like, after 18 years, this is what we've come to. And I said, he kind of made me mad in that moment. It's like, David, you don't forgot what you done. You forgotten what you done. You know why y'all are there. But he was like, after 18 years, we've come down to some numbers and separating properties and all that. This is all it is. And she was like, what do you want? What do you want from me? Is it not enough? Do you want the property in LA? Do you want the property somewhere else? She mentioned. And he's like, no, you can pick any one you want. You can have any of it. It ain't about that. He don't care about that. He said what he want to talk about is the arrangements that they've got with their sons. He says he wants to see him more. He wants to be in his life more. He wants to help raise him. And every time he mentions Micah, you know, that's a sensitive subject for Charlie. And so he says he wants joint custody. That's the whole reason he moved to to Louisiana and transferred to this team he's with, is so that he can spend more time with him. He want to help raise him. Now remember, this boy's 16 years old. He's almost grown. But he wants to continue to be there helping to raise him. And she gets mad and says, no, you don't need joint custody to spend more time with your son. You just need to make him a priority. Oh, she's just so, She forgetting that's still that man's child. That's still his son, and he was always there for his son. He might have been a hoe where she was concerned, which is bad, but she's divorcing him. She doesn't need to try to prevent him from getting what's legally his with his son. I mean, she literally gets mad and upset. And so Davis tells her, he said, I've already talked to Micah. He agrees that I should have joint custody. She thinks he's lying. She's like, you know what? She's like, you're a damn lie. I mean, and the people on the outside, they knows themselves, the lawyers come in and hear him. And she actually storms out of the room. She cannot deal with the fact that him and Micah are going to have the relationship that they should have. She can't handle it. She's upset. She leaves. She goes home and she tries to call her mother, who doesn't answer the phone, but she leaves her mom a message. So maybe we'll get to meet Charlie's mother in this episode. So anyway, and then once she tries to call her mom, she tries to call Micah. Micah has left school for the day. She can't find him. She can't reach him. She actually went to the school and he wasn't there. So when she finally gets him on the telephone, he tells her that he's just out and about going through the town. You know, looking around. Basically, he's touring New Orleans by himself. He done caught the bus everywhere he wanted to go. And he told her he just needs some space. He was like, I'll talk to you later. And she got upset when he told her he needs some space. He said, Mom, I just need some space. Just leave me be for a little while. This child, because earlier that morning, Nova asked her, or Vi asked her, has she talked to him? He hadn't been eating. Is he going to be all right? He hadn't been sleeping much. And so she was like, well, I know my child. He's resilient. He'll be all right. But the rest of them are looking at him like, you know, Nova and Vi looking at her like she's crazy. You don't even know your own child. That boy in there suffering and you're not even able to console him. That's the kind of response that they give her. So anyway, that's where she is. Charlie's just not the best communicator. She loves her son, but she's just not in tune with compassion when it comes down to being able to console people. I don't know, she's a different breed. She's a different breed of person. She's too business minded. I think she's a little bit too self-absorbed, in my opinion. So anyway, he tells her, like I said, back to Micah. Micah tells her he needs some space, some time, and he'll call her and I'll talk to you later. She's crying. I mean, she's devastated. I'm like, what is the problem? That boy is 16. What is wrong with her? Why is she so, I mean, the boy is practically grown. So I don't understand why she's handling. In 2 years, he'll be able to do whatever he want to do anyway. It could be now, according to, I don't know what Louisiana's law is, but she's acting like Davis has asked for something that is just the unforgivable sin or something where his son is concerned. But anyway, she gets on my nerves, like I said. I don't know how many times I can say that to convey how much that woman gets on my nerves. So anyway, what else is going on? Nova, well, let me go back to Charlie before I get on Nova. Charlie is just having a rough day because ain't nothing going the way she wanted to go. That's the reason why she called her mom, and later on she decides to go and pop up at Remy's house. When she pops up at his house, because he didn't know she was coming, it's the 4-year anniversary of his wife's death. His wife was actually in the military. She died in Afghanistan while they were in one of the trucks. They went over an IED, you know, that's a bomb, a triggered bomb that they use. And there was an explosion and she was killed in the explosion. And he's still upset trying to get over that. And I guess every year around about this time, he goes through this ritual type process, you know. But Charlie showed up and he says he usually doesn't take visitors, but since she's here, she can keep him company. So she winds up going over there and he done baked the pie and he gives her a slice of the pie. They have a conversation. He tells her about his wife and he cries a little bit. And even in that moment, she doesn't know how to console him. She just stands there and she just kind of stares at him. She feels for him, but she doesn't know how to console him. I'm like, girl, if you don't grab that man and hug that man with his fine self, I know something. I mean, she just didn't even know what to do while he was standing there in misery. So anyway, they have a good conversation or whatever. And I'm thinking she may have spent the night over there. I can't remember exactly, but I think she might have spent the night and whatnot. But of course they didn't do anything. So he winds up telling her that, apologizing to her for trying to rush her into a relationship. He said he was just trying to make up for these 4 years. He was trying to get back what he's lost. And he told her, he says, you need to go ahead and you need to mourn Davis properly. Mourn your marriage. Get over him. Get that out of your system. And he told her, right, we just need to move on. I mean, he says, I've never opened up to any other woman. He says, you're the only woman that I have wanted to be around and open up to like this since my wife died. So he's letting her know, I'm crazy about you, but you need to get over Davis first. So he was very sensible in that moment. I said, you go ahead on Remy Newell. Tell her what's right. And so that was a good exchange. That was a good learning moment, in my opinion. So anyway, Nova. Nova is getting ready to have her, what do you call it? Her community fundraiser thing is for her bond community outreach organization project. If I'm saying that right. And she's passing out flyers and she's trying to raise money for it because it's going to be taking place that night. And she goes into the barbershop where she has left a can for donations, but no money is really in it other than some change. And she starts questioning it. She's like, this all y'all got? This all y'all gonna give me? But while she's in there, a guy, one of the customers, actually put some money in it. And come to find out, a guy, I guess one of the barbers, I'm assuming the barber or the owner, I can't remember who he was, but this tall and sort of nice looking guy comes over, who's obviously likes Nova a little bit. He told her, if you come back this evening, it'll be full. I don't know why he didn't have it full before that, but he said, if you come back, you know, later on, or tomorrow or whatever, it's going to be full. So she went back that evening, and when she got back, it was full. And the dude was talking to her, and he said, I really had a good time last night. He said, I enjoyed last night. So she done slept with him too. Or finally, I guess she should be happy it was a black man. But anyway, she said, he's like, I enjoyed it, and he's letting her know I like you. And so you could see it in his eyes that he really like, ooh, he just really enjoyed the time he spent with Nova. But Nova was like, I enjoyed it too. It was cool. But can we just leave it at that? I'm like, what in the world is she putting on these men? But anyway, she lets him know it's just sex is what it was. And she tells him, she says, like, can you just give me the can now? So he gives her the money. He lets her know he's there for her. He was going to walk her to her car, but she was like, I don't need you to do that. These people around here know me. And so that was interesting. I'm like, she done slept with him too? What in the world? Anyway, so she got some money for her event that night. She invited all the people to come out or whatnot. And so, yeah, that's what's going on with Nova. She's getting ready. She's preparing for her event. Okay, Aunt Vi is there working, doing what she's doing. Ralph Angel actually brings Blue to the diner for her to babysit because he had some stuff he had to do. And she's like, where's Darla? He's like, she's working. And so I said, yeah, you know, he can stay here with me anytime. She said, this is some time for me, an opportunity for me to spend some time with this baby. So he stays there with her and he helps her around the shop and everything. He runs into Nova. Nova invites him to come out to her event, and he's like, I can't do it. She wants to use his truck, but he's like, I got stuff to do. You know, the farm ain't gonna farm itself. And she's like, okay. She's like, but you coming tonight, right? He said, I ain't got time for this. Because, see, he going on a date with Darla, but he didn't tell her that. He just let her know, I ain't got time for this good. I got stuff I got to do. So she looks at him crazy. But anyway, she turns around and she invites other people out to the event. When he leaves, let's see what happens after that. He has gone to what he went to do that day was to go to the bank to try to get a loan or to withdraw some money out of the account. But the man couldn't do it because he found out that Charlie done put another level of signatory authority on the account. Basically, he can't take out any money without her authorizing it. So that's disappointing to him. He tried to get the man to go ahead and give it to him. The man said, I can't do that. That's illegal. I'll get in trouble if I do that. So he's like, okay. He says it's against bank policy. So Ralph Angel's like, okay, I got it. So he leaves. He's a little upset and disappointed or whatever. But he goes and he's back at the restaurant talking to Vi because he needs to talk to Charlie. And Vi tells him, well, you know, Charlie's had her final divorce meeting today, and I need you to give us some grace for today. And so he was like, I didn't know. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know. He's going to leave it alone for right now. So while he's in there, he sees Remy Newell. He goes and he sits down and he talks to Remy, and he tells Remy about how he's trying to get a loan, but won't nobody give him no money. He's just tired of going to Charlie for money and trying to getting her approval on everything. And so Remy tells him, he says, you know, he didn't want to get into the family business like that, but he lets him know that there is a program for farmers and people like you where you can actually get small loans that you need, like what you need, as long as you don't have any drug charges and things like that on you. They'll give you, don't have to have any credit. And he's like, ain't nobody gonna give me no money, ain't nobody gonna loan me no money. And so Remy tells him, stop saying what folks ain't gonna do. And so he explains, that's when he explained to him about this program for people just like Ralph Angel. He said, all you got to do is apply. You don't have to have any money. You don't have to have any credit. All you got to do is have a project going on and you can apply. And so he convinces Ralph Angel. He tells him, he says, no matter what's going on between me and your sister or what's not going on, I have a love and respect for your farm, for your daddy, and for what y'all got going on. So he says, I'm here for you if you need me. Just, you know, just let me know. I'm down for you. So Remy's a good dude. He's a good guy, and I like his character. I really like his character. So Ralph is appreciative of it, and he said, maybe I will apply for it. And he eventually does apply for this loan, okay? Aunt Vi is there, and while she's there closing up and everything, Ralph has already come and got Blue, like I said, because he's taking Blue on this date with him and Darla. But while she's there, the girl Roberta is there behind the counter working, and she's looking all dismayed and despondent and all aloof. And when Vi says something to her, she doesn't respond. And Vi's like, "Girl, what's wrong with you?" You know Roberta, the girl, the freaky one. I call her freaky, that little fast one that worked in the diner, the one that was flirting with Blue last season. Not Blue, but with Hollywood last season. Well, she's like, "What's wrong with you?" And she's like, I don't know what they were talking about at first. So she starts referring to this couple that had come in there. She's like, I didn't understand or what they were talking about. And she starts explaining slowly to Vi. Vi had to pull the information out of her. She tells her that they came in, their son is working out on this rig, that the same one that Hollywood is working on. That she overheard that there was an electrical problem and that there was an explosion. At first, Vi thought something had happened to the couple's son, Leon. She's like, the whole ship done exploded. There's been an explosion. So, of course, Vi gets nervous because Hollywood is on the same rig, and she goes and she calls Hollywood. She tries to call him, but his phone, of course, goes to voicemail. So she's nervous and everything, real nervous. And so she goes down. She finds out that the men are being sent back home, and she doesn't know what's happened to him. She don't know if he's dead or alive at this point. So she goes the next day to meet them when the bus comes in to see if Hollywood is going to be on that bus. And after seeing several men come off the bus, finally, Hollywood gets off the bus. So old Hollywood done made it home, and she's excited. She sees him. He sees her. They run to each other. She jumps in his arm, and it's a sweet moment. And I know she was excited and happy because her Hollywood done came back home, honey. She can finally get some peace. She can finally get some rest. So that's what happens for Vi. So it's a good moment for Vi. Michael has been wandering around town, and while he's wandering, you see all these posters put up about this community outreach event that Nova's having. It's scheduled for June 22nd, for last Thursday. And at some point, he decides to go that night. And so he gets there. She's doing her speech. There's this man from the barbershop that's actually telling them. There's a lot of people out there, and some police officers out there too, of course. And so they're having this rally, this fundraiser, and he's telling his story about how he went to prison. He went for 8-9 months for something he didn't do. He didn't have no bail. Letting them know why the bond program, the bail program is important. It helps men who get arrested for stuff and they have to sit there without a trial date because they can't afford the bail. I'm talking about for, you know, a lot of them hadn't even done anything, hadn't even broken any law, but they sit there. And that's what this program is about, to help them get out on bail. And so he explains his situation, and everybody's there listening to him. Nova's talking, and while Nova's up there speaking, she looks out and she sees her nephew. He done been wandering through the city all day. He still got on his school uniform. And she runs out and she hugs him, and she's glad to see him, and he's glad to see her. And for some reason, though, I just kind of believe that eventually he gonna wind up living with her. Do y'all think that? I don't know. I just think he's going to. I don't know. Maybe not. That might be far-reaching, but I don't know. She seems to be the only one that can reach him, especially, and his daddy too. His daddy can reach him too now because he's finally accepted his daddy back into his life. But Nova seems to have a penchant for being able to talk to him, probably because she's so open and so free, and she seems non-judgmental and non-critical, especially in light of what has just happened to him with this police officer pulling this gun on him. Yeah, I think between Nova and Davis, he's going to be all right finally. That was what I just said was the biggest part of this episode. Those were the major things that happened. What happened with Charlie? Those were the major points. I'm trying to remember whether or not I missed anything important with the episode 2 called To Usward. What did I leave out anything? We talked about Micah. We talked about Nova. We talked about Remy Newell and Charlie and Davis and Aunt Vi and Hollywood. I think those are the most important highlights of these 2 episodes. I done spent an hour talking about it, y'all. I know I rambled a lot because there were so many things going on, and I was trying to remember a lot of, I was trying to pull stuff from memory because I didn't have time to write everything down. But I do want to say, so far so good. Episode 1 and 2 were good. They probably could have done both of those episodes in one night. I don't know why they had to split it up like they did, but whatever. It gave us something to look forward to 2 nights in a row. It was good. I'm enjoying it. I like it. I like the storyline. I like the characters, the way they have acclimated themselves to just reality. They're more down to earth now. They do a little bit too much. They're a little bit over dramatic. At times, especially Nova, the sound of her voice, she's a little over dramatic, but outside of that, it's pretty good. And I just hope that they bring back, they don't forget to incorporate, or they didn't forget to incorporate what was going on with them white people being low down on this other cane plantation, the ones that's trying to actually get access to the borderline property, because we all know that's prime property in Louisiana. And they want that, and I hope they don't leave that out. I think that made for a very interesting part of the storyline for Queen Sugar. So it's really good, and I'm looking forward to next week's episode 3. I think the name, I forgot the name of it, y'all. My TV done went to sleep in there, so got a screensaver up now, but yeah, it seems so far so good. I'm enjoying it. Ralph Angel with his fine self, Remy Newell with his fine self. I would say Davis was fine, but he a little too yellow for me. He too yellow. I know Remy Newell light skinned too, but he ain't yellow as Davis is, I remember Davis from them Tyler Perry plays, and so yeah, that's about the gist of Queen Sugar. There's a lot going on with everybody. I can't wait to see what Nova's problem is and why she's so promiscuous these days. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen with Charlie. Charlie just keeps digging holes deeper and deeper for herself. I don't know what's going to happen when Davis find out she done forged his name on something. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I want to see what's going to happen with Micah. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Ralph Angel and Darla. I hope Darla stays on the wagon and she keeps her focus on her sobriety and that she shines throughout all of this. Well, anyway, without further ado, y'all take care, and I'll be back a little later with my blog tidbits because there's so much going on in the news with Bill Cosby's mistrial, with, oh my God, some of everything. These YouTubers still begging y'all and threatening to shut down their channels. Some boys at some school been wearing skirts in protest of something. I'll tell y'all about that later. I mean, it's just so much stuff going on. Every time I look around, it's a crazy story in the tabloids. But anyway, y'all take care, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.